In the beginning of the film, Terry Richmond, a former military service member, is riding his bicycle while listening to music when he is struck by a police cruiser. Terry was placed in handcuffs by officers Evan Marston and Steve Land, who said that they attempted to pull him over but that he did not stop. Even after Terry states that he was using earbuds, the cops continue to interrogate him despite the fact that he was unable to hear them. In the process of searching Terry's bag, Evan discovers a surprise. Following Terry's refusal to provide authorization to unlock it, they hold him and then call for a K-9 team, which will take an hour to get to the destination. Even though he was in a hurry, Terry ultimately gave them permission to examine the bag, which revealed a significant quantity of cash. The cops have a hunch that it is money for drug trafficking, but Terry is certain that it is for posting bail for his cousin. When Steve asks Terry's cousin why he is in prison, he guesses that the cash is $30,000. Terry claims that it is for the purpose of purchasing a vehicle and posting bail, and that his cousin Mike was caught for possessing marijuana. Terry is released by the cops, but the money is kept by them. Suspecting it's drug-related, Terry says the cash is from selling his vehicle and investing in a restaurant. Evan warns him the money will be kept for 30 days for documentation. Terry grudgingly accepts and travels to the courtroom. At the courthouse, Terry encounters Clerk Elliot, who refuses to post bail as Terry has no money. Elliot introduces Terry to Summer McBride, a clerk and aspiring lawyer, who explains the police utilize legal loopholes to take money. Terry believes Mike may be targeted in jail, so Summer tells him to acquire more money soon. Terry calls his buddy, Mr. Lou, for aid. Later, Terry files a phony burglary report to match Evan and Steve's descriptions, and Chief Sandy Burnne intervenes. Terry agrees to let them retain most of the money, provided they return enough for his cousin's bail. Sandy gladly agrees. Terry wants to meet his cousin before the move, so Sandy directs him to come at 9 a.m. on Thursday. However, when Terry arrives at the police station, the prisoner bus has already gone since Sandy purposefully changed the timetable ahead. Terry swiftly catches up to the bus and urges his cousin to seek protective custody as soon as he reaches the jail. Terry then seeks Summer's aid, and she tells him that she's unearthed embarrassing material about the officers and that they can take them down. She also says that the courtroom judge is implicated in the wrongdoing. As for Mike's bail, Terry must deliver the money on Elliot's desk as quickly as feasible. Terry comes to the police headquarters to confront the chief, threatening him to comply, but Officer Steve jumps in, resulting in a conflict. Terry disarms both cops and pushes them inside. He shackles them using Officer Sim's handcuffs and brings her to the property room, where he uncovers a trove of weapons and money. Terry collects his money, taking just the $10,000 required for bail according to his original plan and leaving the cops alone. He unloads Jessica's revolver and urges her to pretend to cuff him and drive him away peacefully to avoid being shot by the ranchers outside. Jessica borrows Steve's vehicle, leaves him off in a safe area, and sets a police alert for Terry. Terry runs to the courtroom and presents the money on Elliot's desk. Summer walks out to acquire the judge's signature on the bond, but by then, the officers have surrounded the courtroom and arrested Terry. They take him to the courtroom basement for a medical examination, where Evan accompanies him to see Chief Sandy. They pick up Sandy and drive away. Along the way, Sandy lays everything out, admitting he made a mistake by being engaged with Terry after investigating his past. They arrive at a hospital, where Sandy delivers Terry his remaining cash and urges him to be quiet and forget all that transpired. If not, they'll jail him for 30 years for attacking them. Sandy also says that Mike was assaulted in jail and is being transported to the hospital. Angry, Terry accepts the arrangement, but Sandy tells him never to return to the town or he'll be removed. Terry visits Mike's hospital room, but regrettably Mike doesn't survive. Terry then asks Summer for a lift back to his town. As they travel, they're followed by a policeman, but Summer says it's her contact, a buddy in the police, keeping an eye on her. Summer attempts to explain that there are many incidents like Mike's and the cops need to be exposed, but Terry, irritated, ignores her. He offers Summer his number for emergencies and bids goodbye. Later, Summer wakes up in the middle of the night to discover someone has broken into her home and drugged her. She knows the police are behind it when she finds their vehicle magnet on her refrigerator. She contacts Terry, who soon drives to her residence. He breaks in and finds her alive. Summer claims that she's alright since the officers injected her with a narcotic she used to use earlier in life. She explains that she previously had a daughter but lost custody owing to her background with drugs. Now, she thinks that even though she has been permitted to visit her kid, if she's tested for drugs tomorrow, she might lose custody forever. Terry reassures her and sends her out to work. Unexpectedly, the judge invites Summer in for a hearing and orders her to undergo a drug test, hinting he's in league with the police. Terrified, Summer submits and offers a urine sample, knowing the implications. Meanwhile, Terry sees Officer Steve, who brings in backup and closes the streets. Terry cooperates, but Steve kills him for returning to town. Injured, Terry fights back, tossing Steve with his own rifle, and flees into the fields. He abandons his vehicle and goes to his Chinese hotel, where he telephones Summer and begs for burner phones. Summer arrives at the restaurant with the phones and finds Terry being stitched up by Mr. Liu. Together, they seek to acquire proof of the corrupt officers. Going undercover, they break into the judge's residence and confront him about the police corruption. The judge acknowledges that he has been working with Sandy for a long time. Sandy's department needed funding, so he created money by conducting unlawful searches and forced defendants to fight for their money in court, a struggle they always lost. Terry and Summer intend to take the tape, which is held in the courthouse catacombs. When they arrive, they find the police are already there, lighting a fire to destroy the evidence room. Summer manages to quench the fire, and they hurriedly grab the memory cards, reigniting the fire to mask their tracks. Terry walks to the vehicle and waits for Summer, who proceeds to fetch her urine sample. Unfortunately, she's captured by the authorities. Terry watches as the officers take her, following them to a quiet spot. When the officers break up, leaving one behind, Terry drives into the cop's vehicle, subdues him, and handcuffs him for questioning. Using the cop's radio, Terry calls Sandy, who suggests a swap, Summer, for the memory cards. Terry agrees, and Sandy arranges a rendezvous at Rebel Ridge before sunrise. However, by morning, Sandy's men are waiting, but Terry doesn't appear. Meanwhile, Sandy gets a call from Terry, while Officer Evan believes he has discovered Terry's car. Terry tells Sandy that there's no going back. However, Officer Evan realizes that Terry isn't in the vehicle. It's Officer McGill, tied to the car by Terry. Meanwhile, Terry is in the police station, where he bursts through the rear wall of Sandy's office. Officer Jessica tells the rest of the team about Terry's position, and they go back. Inside the station, greedy Sandy rushes for the money, but Terry is already loading guns from the armory. Instead of deadly shots, Terry shoots Sandy with beanbag rounds. Jessica comes, and Terry cooperates since she is the ally Summer had described. Trusting her, Terry gives her the memory cards and asks her to release them. He confiscates Sandy's guns, but Sandy's men come up outside. Terry gives Jessica a loaded rifle, asking her to cover him while he douses Sandy's money in gasoline. Jessica turns on Terry, stating she doesn't want any shooting, and pulls him outside. Officer Steve approaches Terry, breaking the memory cards. Steve confesses that he knocked out Summer, ensuring they can now murder Terry without witnesses. Officer Evan, understanding the injustice in their acts, steps in to defend Terry. A standoff develops, but Sandy shoots Evan in the leg and grabs his pistol. Terry stares at Jessica, who lowers her firearm, and he seizes the time to flee with Evan. They take refuge behind a vehicle, and Terry tosses smoke bombs at the cops. Evan orders him to activate the car's dash cameras, which will be live in 3 minutes. Terry slowly takes out the officers without murdering them. He finds Steve and exacts vengeance for getting shot earlier. Inside Steve's vehicle, Terry locates Summer and switches on the dash cameras before moving towards Evan to rescue him. As they drive away, Steve clings to the vehicle, attempting to crawl inside, but Summer throws him off. On the road, Sandy and his men follow them, with Jessica joining the hunt. Jessica drives into Sandy's vehicle, enabling Terry to escape. Terry travels to the hospital, where Summer and Evan are admitted to the emergency ward. Before departing, Terry takes the car's video storage disc to save it as evidence to expose Sandy. The movie finishes here.